Hello, dear friends. Today, December 22nd, 2025, you are watching another regular overview of the combat situation map. At this moment, an exceptionally large number of changes are being recorded along almost the entire line of contact. A substantial flow of operational news is coming in, along with map updates both in favor of the Ukrainian side and in favor of Russian forces. The most significant changes today are observed in the Zaporizhzhia and Dnipropetrovsk directions. Serious developments have been recorded in the area of Mirnohrad. In addition, updates are coming from the Kostyantynivka, Siversk, Krasnyi Lyman and Kupiansk directions. There are also changes on the Sumy sector of the front. From the remaining combat directions, mainly news reports are coming in, which we will also analyze in detail and illustrate within this video material. Let us begin with the Orikhiv direction. From this sector, mostly news reports are coming in, while no changes along the front line have been recorded. At the same time, video materials are available. In particular, footage was received from this point, where a Russian FPV drone team destroyed a bridge. Presumably, the bridge had been mined in advance. Under the bridge structure, ammunition belonging to the armed forces of Ukraine was stored, and it was struck using an FPV drone. As a result, a detonation occurred, and the bridge structure was completely destroyed. Another bridge was also destroyed in the area of the settlement of Huliaipole. Here, Russian FPV drone teams eliminated an already mined bridge. Mined supports were clearly visible in the video footage. This object had previously been struck by Russian forces and sustained damage, but this time the bridge was completely destroyed. In addition, an armored vehicle was disabled in the area of the settlement of Razumivka. Video footage from this location confirms the destruction of a logistics truck. At present, these types of video recordings dominate reports from this direction. There are also reports of extremely fierce fighting in the area of the settlement of Stepnohirsk. Russian units are attempting to establish full control over this settlement, but the central part continues to be held by Ukrainian forces. At the same time, Russian troops continue to apply pressure on Novoyakivlivka and Pavlivka, and are striking Ukrainian positions in the area of the settlement of Primorske. However, no changes on the map have been recorded for this sector so far. For their part, Ukrainian units are striking Russian positions in the areas of the settlements of Plavny, Kamyanske, Stepov and Shcherbaki. Next, we move directly to Orikhiv. Here, as of today, there are no changes, and no significant news has come in from this sector. Only 2 reports have been recorded from the area of Novoandriivka. Russian units and FPV drone teams continue to strike Ukrainian positions, but no advances have been observed. Strikes against Ukrainian positions in the southern part of Orikhiv are also continuing. That concludes today's news flow for this sector. We now move on to the Huliaipole direction. Serious changes in favor of the Russian army have been recorded here. As of today, the map coloring has changed both in the central part of the settlement and on its southeastern approaches. This section of the combat zone has been fully cleared and has come under complete control of Russian forces. A stable trend is forming toward leveling the front line, followed by the clearance of the resulting pocket up to the supply road running in this direction. Most likely, within the next week, this entire territory will come fully under the control of Russian units. In addition, Russian forces have advanced in the central part of the settlement. Earlier, we reported on video footage received from this point, where forward Russian positions were located, and at that time the control zone was expanded by approximately 500 meters. Today, reports indicate that the entire central part of Huliaipole has come under full control of the Russian armed forces. All territory marked in red is currently under Russian control. Video footage was also received from another location, where a temporary deployment point of the armed forces of Ukraine was situated. Ukrainian servicemen were inside the building, which was later struck by artillery. As a result, the building was completely destroyed, along with the personnel inside. Overall, the situation indicates a significant expansion of the Russian control zone, and most likely the fate of Huliaipole will be decided within a week or slightly longer. However, there is little doubt that this settlement will ultimately come under Russian control. In addition, Russian forces continue to strike Ukrainian positions in the areas of the settlements of Zelene and Kosovtsevo-Ternovate. Video materials have also been received from the Varvarivka area. Russian presence had been recorded here earlier, and today 2 additional video confirmations have been received. Some pro-Russian cartographic services also mark this area as having come under Russian control and report an expansion of the control zone toward Vavorivka by approximately 400 meters. It should be recalled that this territory had previously already been marked in favor of Russian forces, and the new materials merely confirm further expansion of the control zone. As for the settlement of Dobropillia, let me remind you that there was previously an unsuccessful assault attempt by Russian units here. At the indicated point, an armored vehicle carrying Russian servicemen who managed to break through was destroyed. Nevertheless, this territory remains under Russian control and is marked accordingly on the map. Ukrainian forces currently hold the southwestern part of Dobropillia. Overall, as of the time of recording, the settlement remains in the grey zone. Yesterday, video footage was also received from this point, confirming an advance of Russian forces by 2.5 kilometers in the area of the settlement of Nova Zaporizhzhia. Today, pro-Russian cartographic resources mark this territory accordingly. Let me remind you that Nova Zaporizhzhia came under Russian control much earlier, and the current materials serve as additional confirmation of previously available data. As of today, this is how the news looks for this sector. Next, we move to the Dnipropetrovsk direction. From here, both news reports and map changes are coming in. News is arriving from the areas of the settlements of Bratske, Andriivka, Oleksandrivka, and Dobropasov. Russian forces continue to strike Ukrainian positions. A number of pro-Russian sources report the beginning of assault operations toward Bratske, as well as attempts by Russian units to entrench themselves in this settlement. Advances are even being reported, but no confirming materials have been received so far. There are also reports of clearance operations in the settlement of Andriivka. As of today, confirmed data indicates an expansion of the Russian control zone north of the settlement of Ostapovska. All territory marked in red has come under Russian control. In addition, reports continue to come in about strikes against Ukrainian positions in the areas of Havrylivka, Pidhavrylivka, Lizny, and Velykyi. An intensification of the front line is noted in this sector, and it is not ruled out that Russian forces may launch offensive actions along this line of contact in the coming days. Video footage was also received from the indicated point, which we previously mentioned. Here, Russian units advanced by approximately 800 meters, and all territory highlighted in red came under full Russian control. Today, reports are coming in about further expansion of the control zone in the western part of this settlement. It is possible that some sources were referring precisely to this section of the combat zone. These are the current news and changes for this direction. We now move on to the Pokrovsk direction. A significant number of changes have been recorded here, along with a substantial flow of news. Reports concern the settlements of Kotlin, Udakne, and Molodetske. Ukrainian units continue attempts to strike Russian positions and conduct offensive actions in these directions, but they have failed to achieve success. At the same time, confirmed materials have been received regarding the expansion of the Russian control zone in the area of the settlement of Novopodhorodne. Previously, Russian units entrenched themselves in its eastern part. Video footage from this point confirmed the presence of forward Russian positions. Subsequently, reports emerged about an expansion of the control zone and the capture of 2 streets, but this information was not confirmed. As of today, video materials have been received confirming an expansion of the control zone in the southeastern part of Novopodhorodne, as well as south of the settlement of Molodetske. All territory marked in red has now come under Russian control. It cannot be ruled out that the actual control zone is wider, but for now confirmed data is available only for this specific sector. Once additional information is received, the map will be updated. Finally, we move directly to the Pokrovsk area. Changes have also been recorded here. Let me remind you that the day before yesterday, video footage was received from this point showing forward Russian positions, with an advance of up to 1 kilometer. Today, confirming materials have been received from this section of the combat zone. All territory marked in red has come under Russian control. It can be assumed that the entire forest belt in this direction is under full control of the Russian armed forces, and the actual control zone here may be significantly wider. In addition, reports are coming in about the expansion of the Russian control zone in the area of the settlement of Hryshyn and about assault operations in its direction. However, at this moment, these are only reports without visual confirmation. Changes have also been recorded in the area of the settlement of Svitlo. The Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation has officially stated that Svitlo has come under full control of the Russian armed forces. Additional video materials have been received confirming further expansion of the control zone beyond the settlement. Footage from this point shows forward Russian positions, where the advance over the past 24 hours amounted to up to 800 meters in favor of the Russian army. Video materials were also received from the indicated points, showing forward positions of Russian units. Thus, as of today, the entire territory marked in red is under full control of the armed forces of the Russian Federation. Russian troops are consistently tightening the encirclement. According to available information, Ukrainian units have approximately 1 week remaining, possibly slightly more, after which Myrnohrad will come under Russian control. Once Russian forces are freed up from the Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad areas, pressure will obviously increase in the direction of the settlement of Dobropillia. Already now, aviation strikes are being recorded in nearby settlements. Air-delivered munitions, including FABs, are striking Ukrainian positions and temporary deployment points. Based on this, it can be concluded that after the capture of Myrnohrad, Russian forces will continue offensive operations in this sector. We now move to the Dobropillia salient. In the Dobropillia salient area, both news reports and map updates are coming in. Significant changes have been recorded in the areas of the settlements of Ivanivka and Novashakova. However, let us begin with the news. Video footage from this point shows the destruction of a Ukrainian temporary deployment point by FAB aerial munitions. Several precise strikes were recorded, and the building was completely destroyed. In addition, Russian units continue to strike Ukrainian positions using FPV drones and artillery in the areas of Belitska, Novyi Donbass, Vilna, Hruska, Novopavlivka, as well as in the areas of Toretska and Sofiivka. At the same time, fierce fighting continues in the areas of Ivanivka, Novashakova, Volodymyrivka, and Shakova. As of today, Ivanivka has fully come under Russian control, which has also been acknowledged by the Ukrainian side. In addition, Nikhanarivka has also come under full control of the Russian armed forces. At present, Russian units are conducting assault operations in the settlement of Novashakova. These reports were already coming in yesterday, but as of today, apart from this section, no new confirmations have been received. It cannot be ruled out that at the moment of recording, Novashakova is already under Russian control. A change in map coloring has also been recorded in the area of the settlement of Volodymyrivka. The Ukrainian side has officially acknowledged the loss of this territory. Let me remind you that previously, pro-Russian sources had not reported any expansion of the control zone in this area. However, the information came specifically from pro-Ukrainian sources. As a result, this territory has been marked in favor of the Russian army. As for the settlement of Shakov, there is a possibility that it is already under the control of the Russian armed forces, but at the moment no confirming materials have been received from either side, so the map remains unchanged here. We now move to the Kostyantynivka direction. From this sector, both news reports and map changes are coming in. The news concerns the settlement of Stepanivka, where Russian units continue to strike Ukrainian positions using FPV drones. Active combat is underway north of Yablunivka, as well as north of the Kleban-Byk reservoir. In addition, Russian forces continue to strike Ukrainian positions directly within Kostyantynivka itself. As for the changes, Russian units have restored full control over the eastern entrance to Kostyantynivka. Video footage was received from this point, showing forward Russian positions coming under FPV drone attacks by Ukrainian forces. Nevertheless, confirmed reports indicate that the eastern entrance is currently fully controlled by Russian forces. At the same time, video materials were received from another point where forward Russian positions were also located and subjected to FPV drone attacks by Ukrainian forces. As of today, all territory marked in red has come under full control of the Russian armed forces. This allows us to conclude that Russian troops are indeed expanding their control zone west of the settlement of Pleshchivka. However, confirming information is arriving with a noticeable delay. At present, the situation in this sector appears as described. Next, we move to the Siversk direction. Here, both news reports and map changes are also coming in. There is news from the areas of the settlements of Pokrovsk and Reznikivka. It is reported that Russian forces have effectively established full control over Pokrovsk. Pressure is currently being applied toward Reznikivka, and confirming materials have been received regarding an expansion of the control zone north of Pokrovsk. All territory marked in red is currently under the control of Russian units. As can be seen on the map, Russian advances are taking place along elevated terrain located north of these settlements. If these heights come under Russian control, both Pokrovsk and Reznikivka, located in the lowlands, will effectively fall under the control of the Russian armed forces. An additional map update in favor of the Russian army has also been recorded. Let me remind you that information had repeatedly been coming in about the clearance of a pocket between the settlement of Platonivka and Siversk. Yesterday, the map was updated in this area, and today a further expansion of the control zone occurred. Russian units have taken full control of the entire marked territory. It is possible that the actual control zone here is significantly wider, but confirming materials are not yet available. As of today, the situation appears as described. We now move to the Krasnyi Lyman direction. From this sector, reports are coming in of fierce fighting in the area of the settlement of Dobropillia, as well as high activity in the area of Stavki. An expansion of the control zone in favor of the Russian army has been noted. As I mentioned earlier, some pro-Russian sources indicated advances all the way to the Siversky Donets River. However, confirmed information has been received only for two specific areas. These concern the territory between the settlements of Platonivka and Ozerne, north of Ozerne itself. Here, Russian units have expanded their control zone in the direction of Dibrova and toward Ozerne. At the same time, the presence of Russian forces directly within Ozerne has not been confirmed, despite the fact that the map was colored differently yesterday. Today, however, the map coloring has changed in favor of the Ukrainian side, and Ozerne is currently under full control of the armed forces of Ukraine. Once confirmed information is received regarding an expansion of the Russian control zone in this area, the map will be updated accordingly. Russian airstrikes were also recorded south of Ozerne against Ukrainian positions. As of now, the situation here stands as described. Next, we move to the Kupiansk direction. From this sector, mainly news reports are coming in, although there are also changes in favor of the Ukrainian army. Let us begin with the news. Pro-Russian sources report alleged assault operations in the settlement of Kupiansk Vuzlovyi, but the reliability of this information is questionable. Most likely, these reports refer to strikes being carried out against Ukrainian positions. FPV drones are being actively used against Ukrainian positions in the areas of Kurilivka, Podoli, and Petropavlivka, despite a statement by the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation claiming that Petropavlivka has come under Russian control. This settlement continues to be held by Ukrainian forces. In addition, the map has been updated in favor of the Ukrainian army. All the indicated territory is currently not controlled by Russian units. It is possible that part of this area lies within a grey zone, but the majority of cartographic services, both pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian, mark this territory as being under Ukrainian control. Another map update in favor of the Ukrainian side has also been recorded. Yesterday, video footage was received from the indicated point, but it remained unclear from which direction Ukrainian units had entered the building, where they were later destroyed. Today, the situation has become clear. All territory marked in yellow is under full control of the armed forces of Ukraine. It cannot be ruled out that within the next week, Kupiansk may be lost by the Russian side and return under Ukrainian control. However, we will refrain from making premature conclusions and will continue to closely monitor developments in this sector. Moving on. From the Velykyi Burluk direction, two news items have come in today. They concern the settlement of Hryhorivka, where Russian forces carried out strikes against Ukrainian positions using FPV drones and artillery. In addition, airstrikes were recorded against Ukrainian temporary deployment points in the area of the settlement of Velykyi Burluk. No other reports have been received from this direction today. We now move to Vovchansk. From this area, only news reports are coming in today as well. They concern the areas of the settlements of Vovchansk, Kutory, Vilcha, and Simonivka. Fierce fighting continues in the areas of Vovchansk, Kutory, and Vilcha. Russian forces are also continuing pressure towards Simonivka, striking Ukrainian positions. A large number of fortified Ukrainian positions are located in the forested areas west of this settlement. At the same time, Russian units are expanding their control zone south of the settlement of Lyman. In turn, Ukrainian forces are conducting counterattacks toward Prylipka, Lyman, and Vilcha. All three settlements are being subjected to active counterattacks by the armed forces of Ukraine. However, no sustained advances by either side have been recorded here as of today. A similar situation is observed on the Liptsy direction, where positional fighting continues without changes along the line of contact. We now move to the Sumy direction. Here, both news reports and changes are coming in. Russian forces continue to apply pressure in the areas of the settlements of Kondrativka and Andriivka, attempting to develop offensive actions in their direction. So far, no confirmed changes have been recorded. Pro-Russian sources report an expansion of the control zone, while pro-Ukrainian sources claim the front line remains stable and under Ukrainian control. In this situation, information from both sides must be taken into account, as each side tends to exaggerate its successes and downplay its losses. Therefore, we are waiting only for confirmed information. Such confirmation has arrived south of the settlement of Oleksivka. Video footage from this point confirms the presence of forward Russian positions. Russian forces expanded their control zone by approximately 1 kilometer south of Oleksivka. All territory marked in red has come under the control of the Russian armed forces. Despite Ukrainian counterattacks toward Oleksivka, Ukrainian forces were unable to dislodge Russian units. In addition, Russian forces are striking Ukrainian positions in the areas of Khotin, Pisarivka, and Novosich. In response, Ukrainian units are striking Russian positions in the areas of Varakine and Oleksiivka. Video footage was also received from the settlement of Hrabovske, where a Ukrainian serviceman was taken prisoner. Prior to that, he had made obscene gestures toward Russian FPV drone teams, after which he was captured. Additionally, reports have come in that the settlement of Vysoke has come under Russian control in this sector of the front. The Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation has officially stated that this settlement has been taken under full control. However, no significant map changes have been recorded here so far. That concludes today's news. Thank you all for your attention and for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time.